everyone, and welcome back to Simplicity Reimagined. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown of a week in my life. Technically, it was 3 days of very productive work. So we're just going to begin. I did English homework first, and I had to do analysis on 2 different art pieces. One art piece from this random person, and then one art piece from a scene in Taming of the Shrew. So if you guys don't know what Taming of the Shrew is, it's basically a comedic play written by Shakespeare. In this clip, I was just typing out some observations and predictions I had on these art pieces. The next part of my homework for English was to annotate, basically highlighting and making side notes in the columns for this packet about the induction for Taming of the Shrew. The induction is the introduction. It just sets a plot and characters. It helps us sort of understand what's going on in the play, except Shakespeare uses a lot of Old English, so it's not crystal clear all the time. Next, I did geometry. As you can tell, I have a ton of assigned questions. Now, I usually don't have this much homework every single night. The great thing is that our teacher just collects all this homework right before the chapter test. Now, that's also a bad thing because if you procrastinate, you end up doing several hours of proofs and writing. The ironic thing is that geometry, due to the amount of writing you have to do, feels more like an English class, and chemistry, where you have to actually plug things into an equation that actually makes sense. You don't have to prove it that it's correct, even though everyone can clearly see that something's correct. Without needing a proof, it feels like a math class. Aside from that minor rant, basically in geometry we do lecture, ask questions from the homework and previous quizzes or tests, and do a lot of proofs. Like a lot. Huge emphasis on proofs and theorems. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I study for this? Now, most of my tests and quizzes are basically true and false for vocab terms, and then a little bit of calculation involving algebra for like determining the measurement of angles and sides, yada yada yada. But generally it's proofs and applying those theorems or postulates to a picture. The best way to study for geometry is just to do your homework, make sure you do that extra review even though it's optional, and ask questions. Always ask questions. So after geometry homework, I went back to the induction packet to do some more annotations, and probably in a future video I will do a little tutorial on how to do some annotations depending on the class that you're taking. After English homework, I then moved on to AP European History, and in this assignment, we were supposed to do Cornell-style notes, and if you guys don't know what that is, basically on the left, you have a column, and then on the right, you have your little bullet points, just explaining the title or subtitle of whatever you're learning, and the whole purpose of the column is for you to do titles and subtitles, and questions that help you recall information from that certain part of the chapter. Also, I think it's really handy to put in the page numbers in the columns. I didn't do it in this example, but for future reference you should, because if you're confused what your notes are saying, it's always nice to just refer back to the textbook to make sure you know you have the exact information for the test. Another great thing about this column style is that you can add sticky notes or you can add annotations in a different color pen during lecture if you do go over these notes, because sometimes teachers say important information that you never found in the notes, and that might also help you for the test. So make sure you're always annotating and revising your notes. Personally, I don't use the Cornell method because I think that the column takes up a lot of space, and sometimes I don't have enough time to annotate and go over to revise the notes. And I'm lucky enough sometimes to make a Quizlet out of all my notes. Which leads me to my next point, is that Quizlet is the perfect tool for students who really want to go above and beyond in their studies. So if you guys don't already know what Quizlet is, it is basically an online website that allows you to make your digital flashcards. So you make up your own question and you make up your own answer. By doing this, you not only learn the content with your notes and the textbook that you need for the test, but it also allows you to understand why it's important. Also, if you ask multiple questions in different ways about the same topic, it allows you to see it in different perspectives. For example, there's this very famous quote from Louis XIV. It's in French, so I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it, but my question on Quizlet that I made was, what does this French statement mean? And then on the answer I said, I am the state, and it was said by Louis XIV. Now, another way you can ask this question, which I also included in my Quizlet, was, how did Louis XIV reign as a one-motto king? And then my answer was, insert the French statement, I am the state, and that means I am in control. Based on this example, it shows that by asking two questions or multiple questions in different ways about the same topic, you're able to understand 1. Who said the quote, 2. What was the quote, 3. What did the quote mean, and 4. What was the importance of the quote. So I was able to gather all that information within 2 questions about the same topic. Hopefully that cleared that up for you, and if you do have further questions, I will be making a future video on how I make my Quizlets and how different ways you can format your Quizlet questions and answers. Now, if you notice that we didn't show any Thursday or Friday productivity, now we did have conferences that week, so that means no school for us, which was really nice because then I could finish all these notes. Miraculously, after probably 10 hours plus, I finished it, and it totaled to about 24 pages long. Did I regret not typing these notes? Yes, of course I did, but in the end, you're better memorizing with handwriting. Aside from all of that, I hope you got something helpful out of this. Thank you for watching this video, and remember to have a wonderful day.